Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. I have a new story time for you guys today. This story was actually requested by one of you guys, but they chose to stay anonymous. But if you guys do have any story requests or anything like that, you guys want me to shout you out, I totally got you on that. Before I start my story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I also do funny videos on TikTok and Instagram. So if you don't follow me there, it's the same name as my YouTube and it's Biggiegram. Make sure to, click the thumbs up, the bell. I don't know this YouTube lingo. I'm still new to this, but let's just get to the story. I'm so sorry, you guys are gonna hear a lot of noise in the background. Remember, I live with my sister, so those are the kids, so I'm so sorry. I can't edit them out. So the story request that I had was what was I think like the worst thing that ever happened to me with a church person since I came out the closet. I don't want you guys to think that I'm just gonna only talk about these types of subjects on this channel. Like, I have so many crazy stories that have happened to me, but these are the stories that you guys are requesting. So if you guys want me to talk about something different, just send me a request and then I'll be able to talk about, I don't know, my family or something else. But this is just like honestly what you guys request. And one thing I'm learning from YouTubers is to always just give the audience what they want. You guys know that I grew up in church, but I'm gay now, so I think a lot of people are very curious as to like, well, how did you deal with this? How did you deal with that? And if that's what you guys want to hear, hey, I'm for it. I'm willing to open up about a lot of things about that, because I know that it's something that nobody wants to talk about. You know what I mean? Because it is very controversial. Like, is it wrong? Is it right? Like, is she saying that it's okay to be gay? If she's saying that it's wrong to be gay, it's very out there. But whatever the case may be, I am willing to share it with you guys because I feel like it'll help a lot of people. And I know that the first video that I posted, the first time a gay rumor was said about me in church, and that was like, forget it. It went crazy. I had people emailing me, DMing me, like, you need to do more stories like this, etc., etc. So I'm here for it. Whatever you guys want to hear, I'm willing to share. I can link the story down below if you haven't seen that one, if you're new to my channel. This story is the worst thing that happened to me since I came out the closet with a church person. Like, that's specifically what the person requested. I had to really think about it because I'm like, I've actually not had that many bad experiences with church people. I've been very blessed to be well received in the Christian community, even though they know my background. So I will always defend the church because the church has been good to me. Now, has it been the same for everybody else? Absolutely not. That's why some people are like, oh, it wasn't like that for me. It wasn't, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about both sides because I also want to defend my gay community because I'm understanding of why they may not like the church, So this story is one of those reasons why the gay community doesn't like the church people because of people like this. I started making videos November of 2014. This situation happened May 2015, so I wasn't even a year making videos. I had short hair at the time. Like, I had like a boy cut. Like, I literally had like a fade, and it was something that I just wanted to do just because it's hair, it'll grow back. Had I not been gay, this would have never been a problem. If I would have had long hair, if I would have looked girly or whatever the case, this would have never been an issue. At the end of the day, I'm just a gay person making a church video, so that's why the two get conflicted, and it becomes a controversy because of the fact that some people think it's funny, like, oh my God, she's just reliving it, out of sight, out of mind. They don't care who made the video. Other people analyze the video to death. Well, she's gay, why she's making this video, ella está ofendiendo, con las cosas de Dios no se juega. Best part of my life was when I grew up in church. Even as strict as it was, or all the stuff that happened, it is a very important, special part of my life, and I like to incorporate it in my comedy because I know for many of you, you feel the same way. I made this video and it really caused like una controversia bien brutal in this lady's Facebook. I'm gonna show you guys the video. It's literally like 15 seconds. All the video is just me saying Christian moms be like, and it's just me imitating my mom, like when she cleans around the house with a holy song, how Christian women clean. Like, that's, I didn't even talk in the video. That's all. I posted the video and it actually did really, really well. Like, I got so many views. People could relate to it. Oh my God, that's my mom, my grandma, she does that. Okay, that's all it was. How am I making fun of church or anything in that video? I'm reliving me living with my mom, and that's how she cleans the house. I can see on Facebook when people share my videos. I also have a Facebook page. I just haven't promoted it on here. It just goes under Biggie. I haven't had the chance to actually just change it out to Biggiegram. That way I could just have all my social medias under one name. But it's under Biggie, B-I-G-G-Y. I can see when people share the videos, and then I could read the captions on top. You know, people usually share it and they write something funny like, oh my God, that's my mom, that's my grandma. But I saw somebody share it, and when they shared it, it was like a paragraph, like this huge paragraph. And I'm like, oh wow, that's porque why did they put a paragraph? So I go into the page. When I tell you guys, I read this paragraph, I'm like, wow, this lady went in. Like, I'm talking about, I have never ever been bashed on social media ever. Like, this is like, she went beyond bashing. And it went something like, tenemos que tener cuidado con las redes sociales porque mira esta muchacha blasfemando. Like, she was basically saying that my video was blasphemy against the Lord. And I'm like, okay, that's like a really hard accusation because I wasn't doing that. And remember, guys, that I had short hair. So because I had short hair, she's like, it even took me a while to figure out if she was a boy or a girl. I figured out that she was a girl, but why would she have her hair like that? But then making a church video. I mean, she went in. Then she said something like I had a gender identity crisis, that she's like, she probably doesn't even know what she is. Like, that's why she's dressed like that. I mean, it went on and on. Like, it was really, really bad. And I'm just reading this like, how do you call yourself a Christian and just humiliate somebody like that? She's never spoken to me, has no idea who I am, like nada. It's just, she just felt compelled to like bash me on social media. I never do this, but I was like, yo, I was so new to social media. Then I'm like, well, let me go, let me reach out to this lady and try to defend myself, because nothing that she wrote was what I was trying to do. So I reached out to her. I actually private messaged her. Mira, can we talk? Because, you know, I honestly feel very uncomfortable about this. Like, you bash me on social media and you don't even know me. You know, you haven't even said God bless you to me, but then you me tiras por el piso and you don't even know who I am. Like, I was just wanting to reach out and wanting to talk to her because I did want to explain myself. She reached back out and she messaged me and she's like, no, pero es que nosotros somos llamados de Dios para nosotros, you know, decir la verdad. It was something like, well, we're called by God and we have to share the gospel and we have to tell people the truth. And I'm like, that's so wrong in so many ways. I get what she's saying, but at the same time, I'm like, no, there's a difference between you're called upon God to preach the gospel and, you know, let people know the truth, because there is a verse in the Bible that says that. Forgot off the top of my head which one it is, but it is. But I feel like people also abuse that verse and they take it out of context, because Jesus never said to bash people on Facebook. I don't care what you say. Don't argue with me. You are not called to bash people on Facebook. You can believe in something, great. Believe in it. And yes, we do have freedom of speech, but at the same time, you have to be careful with what you say. Like, why would she bash me on social media? It went back and forth. And I think that, you know, when you're trying to say something through a message, you know, it's not going to sound the same. So she was like, well, can we talk? And I'm like, do I really want to give this lady my phone number? But then I was like, Biggie, just give her the phone number, because it is better to just have an actual conversation with her. So pues sí, we ended up talking on the phone, and it was a very long conversation. I explained myself and she understood. And then she, you know, she started giving me advice or whatever the case. And then I asked her, I was like, listen, could you please take down the video and everything you wrote? Because now that I've made myself clear, could you be able to do that? And then she's like, sí, yo lo voy a quitar. So she did. She ended up taking down the video, and I really appreciated that. And then as we were talking on the phone, she was like, oh, porque yo soy una pastora de la iglesia, you know, and I have to look out for my church. And I remember thinking, you're a pastor? Usually when people tell me they're pastors, immediately I start calling them pastors, because that's the respect that I have for you. I had no respect for this lady. So whenever she told me she was a pastor, I was like, I ain't calling her a pastor. We're gonna call her Hermana Carmen. No Pastora Carmen, Hermana Carmen. I didn't even call her Hermana. And I'm thinking about it, I was like, I don't even think I called her Hermana. I shouldn't even deserve Hermana. Let me stop. No, but I didn't. I just kept on calling her Señora. And I'm like, bueno, señora, usted me dijo que usted es pastora. Like, eso es para mí, no es un buen líder. I told her that you're not being a good leader. It's almost like you're encouraging your church to be able to do stuff like that, to be able to go and bash people on social media without knowing them. I was like, how is that good leadership? I was like, tú tienes que tener cuidado con eso, because what if I would have done something? What if I wouldn't have been this mature con las cosas de Dios and actually have reached out to you and done what I have done? What if it was somebody else? You know, you need to be very conscious of that. And then she's like, no, tienes razón. Okay, I'm gonna take that into consideration. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so at the end of the day, this was a stranger, una pastora, that bashed me on social media, humiliated me on social media, and made me feel some type of way. Side note, you know, even though we fixed everything or whatever, I still felt like at the end of the day, you still humiliated me. People still read that. You know, it was hours before she took it out. So in the little bit of hours, so many people read that, and so many people left with this, you know, persona of me, which I wasn't. So I did actually, even though we fixed it, I still did cry. Because in my heart, I was like, God, you know that that was never my intention. And for anyone to even think that I could do that would be crazy to me. So I'm like, God, am I wrong? Should I stop making these videos? Am I really blasfemando? Like, you know, you tell me what I should do. Mind you, we fixed it and everything, but I still felt bad. And I still was feeling bad because within the same week, I had actually run into, I was doing some shopping, and I had actually run into some old friends of mine from church, like my old church. And it was a couple and they were married. And this is the first time that they had seen me with short hair. Mind you, I had been out of church for a long time. So this is the first time that both of them saw me with my like fade. And I remember running into them, and I remember both of them looking at like each other and looking at me, like, and it was so awkward because I was like, hey, ¿cómo están? And it was the first time ever that I felt like a rejection. Not a rejection. It was just more like, oh, we don't want to be with Biggie. I don't know how to explain it. We grew up together. So I just didn't feel that. I didn't feel received. I didn't feel received when they like saw me. I was like, wow, I was so happy to see them, and they were both so like stiff. Like I went to hug him, then I went to hug the wife, and you know how when you hug somebody they just stay there? That's how it was. Like, he stayed stiff, and so did his wife. And I was like, wow, like they didn't really move. Then all of a sudden I get the whole church spiel, like, oh, tú tienes que buscarle Dios, mira que ese pelo, que ta, 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 ta. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I remember feeling like I was so, like, I don't know, that got to me for a while. So within the same week, I had gone through that with my church friend that I had grown up with. Like, I grew up with this guy. And then, you know, his wife, I went to their wedding. I think I even came out on their wedding. Hold on, let me think. I don't know. I think I came. Yeah, I did. I came out on his wedding. Oh my God. Yes. That's how close we were. So it was the first time that I felt like somebody from my church didn't really receive me. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay, because everyone else is cool with me. And then with him, I really was in shock. Of all people that I could have ran into in church, he really shocked me. So I had that in my head, and then I had this pastora that like bashed me on social media. So needless to say, it was just not a good week with Christian people in my life. So that day I did cry. I felt some type of way, and I remember hearing the song by Samuel Hernandez, El Rechazado Soy Yo. So I'm like thinking about all this stuff. And then I have it in the car on repeat. Y si te rechazan a ti, rechazado soy yo. If y'all haven't heard that song, y'all really gotta listen to it. It really talks about el amor de Dios. It's called El Rechazado Soy Yo by Samuel Hernandez. Probably got the title wrong, but whatever. Google will figure it out for you, or YouTube. After that happened, I remember saying this story on Snapchat. I have this friend, Rebecca is her real name. So Rebecca actually reached out to me, and she's like, I am so sorry on behalf of all Christians. You shouldn't have gone through that. I feel so bad. And then the conversation just kept going back and forth. And that all happened 2015, and it's 2021, and Rebecca and I are still friends. We actually even met and everything. So I actually met her through my videos. I just thought that it was really sweet that she reached out and like apologized. Like, she didn't need to do that. But a lot of people did. A lot of people were like, yo, that's what's wrong with the Christian community. They shouldn't do that, etc., etc. So bueno, guys, like, so that's the end of the story. That's the worst thing that ever happened to me. Wrong. So you think that this story is over, but guys, come on. How can you possibly think that this is over? Hello, it's me. On the next episode of What Happens in Biggie's Life, this is what happened. This is gonna be like a major twist. This is gonna be like better than esto va a ser una novela pentecostal with like what I'm gonna tell you that happened next.
Televisa presenta.
This is part 2 to this story. Still talking about La Pastora, Hermana Carmen. A couple of days had gone by, and Hermana Carmen texts me in the morning. It was something simple like, Dios te bendiga, Abigail, buenos días, espero que pases un lindo día, estarás en mis oraciones, which I think is beautiful to know that you guys always tell me that I'm in your prayers. That means a lot to me. So that's what she said. She was like, hey, listen, good morning, Abigail. Hope you have a beautiful day, and just knowing today that you're in my prayers. And I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't think anything of it. Texted, whatever, kept it going. So pasa el tiempo. That same night, she texts me again. Hey, Abigail, Dios te bendiga. God bless you. You know, I hope you had a good day. You're in my thoughts, and I prayed for you. And I'm just like, cool, thanks. Like at that point, I'm just like, okay, you're gonna keep telling me every time you pray for me, so whatever. I didn't think anything of it. I kept it really short because I didn't have anything against her. It wasn't like, you know, le tenía rencor or anything like that. It was just like, all right, we already said our piece. You took down the video. Like, I don't feel like, where is this gonna go? So I was thinking maybe she's probably gonna invite me to her church or whatever. Been keeping it short with her because, like I said, I made my peace. Like, yo, we good. Like, you get on with your life and I get on with mine. Pues nada, pasa el tiempo otra vez. Again, in the morning, before I go to work, Dios te bendiga, Abigail, estaba pensando en ti, espero que pases un lindo día y pues estarás en mis oraciones. The same text, you know, like, God bless you, I hope you're having a good day, you know, and I'm praying for you. I'm like, like, cool, all right, gracias, cool, like, cool story, bro. I think at that point, I just put like a thumbs up. Like, I just like, all right, like, you don't always gotta text me when you're praying for me, like, I get it. I remember being out with some friends, and I remember I was not paying attention to my phone, so she kept texting me. And I was just like, yo, what is this? So I looked at my phone, I was like, yo, for real, the lady again? But I didn't want to reply. I was like, I'm just gonna reply later. When I saw the text message, it was like, Dios te bendiga, Abigail, estaba pensando en ti, y porque estaba pensando en ti, tuve que orar. I didn't think anything of it. Pretty much the text was, God bless you, Abigail, I was thinking about you, and because I was thinking about you, I had to pray. And I'm like, all right, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, maybe she had a vision with me. Maybe God told her something. Maybe something is going to happen to me. And she felt in her heart that because she was thinking about me and that, she had to go pray. That's what I'm thinking, right? So then I write to her and I'm like, oh, pues, you know, ¿qué pasó? Like, what were you thinking? Like, ¿qué me pasó? Like, I'm curious. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not going to, you know, I may not want to be close to her, but at the end of the day, if God has a word for me, I need to figure out, you know, I need to figure out what it is, because what if something was going to happen? No, that's not what she meant. When I tell you guys that I can't make the stuff up that happens to me, this is why I should have started a YouTube channel years ago. When I told Rebecca this, when I told you guys this on Snapchat back in 2015, my Snapchat blew up because people were so in shock. Some people even told me they had suspected, but I didn't suspect this at all. Yo estaba blinded. She's like, no me entendiste. Porque estaba pensando en ti, tuve que orar. And I'm like, okay, so because I was thinking about you, I had to pray. And I'm like, thinking about me, I don't get it. Again, just el avión me pasó por encima y me dejó en el aeropuerto. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, no. She's like, can I call you? I'm like, oh my God, what does this lady have to tell me now? I'm like, dame unos minutos que voy, después yo te llamo. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I felt like I couldn't, she was like una lapa. Like, I felt like she was a plaga from like Moses times, because I couldn't get rid of her. And I'm like, okay. So then she calls me and we talk at night. This lady tells me, well, I never wanted to tell you this, but I also struggle with liking women. I used to be a lesbian, and then God delivered me, and then that's how I became a pastor. When she told me that, the problem, and I want to make this very clear, when she told me that, the problem here is not that I didn't believe she was delivered, because I feel like there's nothing impossible for the Lord. Nada es imposible para Dios. I don't ever disregard when someone tells me that Dios los libró de algo. If God delivered you from something, amen. I think we're all fighting our own demons. I wouldn't humiliate someone just to make myself feel better just because I'm battling with something and I don't know how to talk about it. When she's telling me this, I'm like, espérate, ¿cómo fue? And then she's like, no, es que you've been in my thoughts lately, and you know, I thought I left this in the past, pero yo estoy pensando en ti, and because I'm thinking about you, I've had to pray. First of all, I'm thinking in my head, like, why is she even telling me this? Like, what did she want to accomplish by letting me know that she was having feelings for me? Like, did she think I was gonna just be like, oh yeah, well listen, I was thinking about you too? No, I was just like in shock, because I'm like, okay, so I'm still thinking about her bashing me, but yet now she's like declaring all these feelings that she has for me. So I'm like, so we went from una pastora de la iglesia that decided to bash me on social media to now she has feelings for me. And I'm just like, ¿qué revolú hay aquí? ¿Qué arroz con pollo hay aquí? Because I'm like, how does that make any sense? I don't want to also feel like I'm judging people when they're delivered from something, or they're trying to go to church and they're fighting for something that they want to change about themselves, because it can't happen. That's all okay. What I didn't find okay was the fact that I'm like, but you still bash me though. Like, in my mind, I'm like, I can't get over the fact that ella me tiró por el piso, you know, she just humiliated me, embarrassed me, because I was embarrassed. And then now she wants to like declare all these feelings. I told her that I needed to go. I just was like, oh, pues está bien, yo no sé qué decirte, you know, I guess pray or whatever the case. Y fue porque la mandé oral. And then I hung up, and then I'm like, after that, I was like, I need to block this lady. I went to Facebook, I blocked her off of Facebook. Everywhere that I could find her name, I blocked her. And I blocked her phone number, and since then we've never spoken ever again. My whole thing to this is I know that there is a Bible verse, and I was trying to look it up, and I know that there's a Bible verse that says that we are called to preach the gospel and to let people know the truth. Like, no, es que nosotros tenemos que dejarle saber las personas la verdad. I get that, but I feel like also people abuse that and take it out of context. And I felt that she literally abused that because she bashed me on social media, not knowing who I was. I could have been one of those people that was struggling with something. So I could have been going through a mental battle, and then reading that, I could have went home and I could have taken my life. You see what I'm saying? These are all the consequences of when we do stuff like that. And I include myself because maybe I've done it, and I don't want to ever say that it's just people doing it. Maybe I've done it myself. And I felt like by her doing that, by her bashing me, she was battling with something internal. And I didn't appreciate that. I was like, so entonces tú me vas a dañar la reputación en social media cuando tú estás batallando con algo interiormente. But then she had to take it out on me and bash me because she doesn't know how to confront her own problem. From what I can remember, she was also married. And I don't want this to turn into a whole, well, that's what happened, she was gay, and then people try to go to church and they're never delivered. No, that's not the message that I'm trying to send, because I do know people that were gay and they're actually in church now, and they become evangelists, they got married, they had kids. So I do believe in the deliverance of the Lord. I'm not against that at all. My problem with her is that I guess she fell into the temptation again, and that is okay. It is okay to fall because we are human. I'm not condemning anyone for having, for falling again. It happens. But why did you have to bash me? Like, what did you want to accomplish by bashing me? Again, I don't fault her for having whatever problem she was having, but my whole point to this is that's fine. If you want to fall, because, tú te puedes caer, pero te puedes levantar otra vez. That's what church is for. We're not perfect. Church is like a hospital. It's for it's for us to heal. And I feel like Christians are always held to a higher standard. So anytime they make a mistake, it's like, oh my God, but you go to church, tú vas a la iglesia. And it's like people nitpick at you. They like to do that because of the fact that you're like, oh, I go to church. And then the moment you do something, I thought you were Christian. I thought you couldn't do that. And it's like, bro, like, calm down. Like, I go to church, but I'm not a perfect person. And while I do defend that, I also feel like at the end of the day, she was wrong. She didn't have to do that. Nosotros tenemos que ser imitadores del Señor. So help me understand how she was imitating Jesus. When he was down here, Jesus was so sweet. He was so kind. He was so humble. He was everybody's friend. The lady that she was having an affair and everybody wanted to stone her, rapidito, because everybody just wants to pick up that stone. I swear, Christian people be walking around with that stone in their hands. Like, they're ready to just cast it. Biggie's gay. I'm going to go ahead and cast it. And it's like, bro, but I get it. I know I'm gay. I know my situation. But do you know your situation before you sit there and comment on my YouTube? Pero es que Dios hizo al hombre y a la mujer. Okay, pero está bien, but what are you doing? I mean, you worried about me, but you gotta worry about you. So how about you put your stone down? Put it down and worry about yourself, because he who is without sin cast the first stone. Hallelujah, hermano. Yo, don't get me started. I will grab my microphone and don't get me started, because yo puedo predicar. That is my calling, by the way. Oh, you guys are not ready. Oh my God, you guys are not ready for Fuego Pentecostal. Biggie. El que esté libre de pecado, tire la primera piedra. Because y'all be casting these stones at me. I be seeing these comments. I have to have thick skin to be able to do what I do, because of the fact that if I didn't have el amor de Dios y las fuerzas de Dios with the things that people comment. When's the last time that you asked a gay person if they're okay? When's the last time that you went and you hugged somebody that was gay? Hey, you know what? When's the last time that you went up to somebody that you know is gay and was like, mira, I just want to tell you Jesus loves you. Cristo te ama. When's the last time that you asked one if they're okay? Because the vast majority of us are not okay. I'm not okay. So I don't need to constantly get told that I'm going to hell. I need to get told that there is hope for me. El Dios que tú le sirve, a mí también me puede cambiar. Pero nada, I don't know what else to say about this story. I feel like that's it. That's been, like, I guess, the worst situation that's happened to me with a Christian person since I've come out the closet. Encima de todo, I thank God that he gives me the strength to be able to deal with all this stuff, because I know it's not easy. Not easy being me, trust me, okay? That is why I have a hard time doing my coming out story. That is my most requested story. I can easily just tell you guys, oh yeah, I told my parents and that's it. It's the aftermath that I don't want to talk about. But give me time because I'm actually praying because I do want to do that story. It's not easy. But anyways, at the end of the day, I feel like I do have some calling. Even with this whole YouTube thing, I feel like there's something nice, something good and something nice is gonna happen. Yo sé que Dios está haciendo muchas cosas. I know he's doing his thing. He's always looked out for me. That's my story. So the moral of the story is Matthew 7. Do not judge or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? Con la misma Biblia que ustedes siempre me condenan, es la misma Biblia con que Dios a mí me defiende. Hasta aquí mi parte y pues que el Señor me los bendiga. ¡Aleluya!
No te preocupes, ministro, amigo, hermano, sigues adelante, te dice el Señor. Si te rechazan a ti, el rechazado soy yo.